Welcome to The Art of Custom from Hibbs Homes. Sponsored by Pella Window and Doors and Ferguson Bath Kitchen and Lighting Gallery.
Hi, everyone. Kim Hibbs and Melody Miners with you with a special bonus edition of The Art of Custom. And Melody, the reason I wanted to get us together to talk about some updated information from the industry is because things have changed. I remember a couple of months ago, we did another bonus edition where we were talking about the current state of the home building market, if you will. And since then, we've had some movement in a lot of different directions, correct?
We have lumber, right?
That's the good news.
Yes.
That's a teaser.
It's almost like a bad word, lumber prices.
Well, it used to be.
Right?
We can start using that word again with a smile on our face.
Good. Why can we start talking about that again?
For a couple of years, lumber has really been a challenge for builders. There's been a lot of volatility, and that mostly came from the lack of material. Supply shortages created by the pandemic, supply shortages created by tariffs between the United States and Canada, just a lot of different reasons. So lumber prices that are usually in the $300 to $400 per 1,000 board foot spiked all the way to $1,700 back at its peak. And then we had a little bit of volatility. It backed off a little bit, $700, $800. Then it went right back up this past year to $1,400. So the good news is that lumber prices are down now well below $1,000. We're taping this show right now. I think they're closer to $7 or $8. But there is still some volatility, but nothing like we saw before. Part of the reason there is the number of starts is down, and that ties into some of the other subjects we'll talk about. But I think the takeaway on lumber, a lot of people were waiting to see what was going to happen with lumber before they decided to build. A lot of builders would not even price their homes until they finished and saw what the lumber bill was. So the good news is lumber prices are down. It's a great time to think about building a home because of that. And I don't see the volatility with that commodity coming back into the market simply because things have backed off a little bit as far as the number of permits. So that's why we can say lumber with a smile on our face.
Can you knock on wood? Just really quickly.
I get it. That was good. That was really good.
So, with lumber prices, you were saying that there are material prices that, have been a lot of movement in that.
Correct.
I know there were some microchip issues with different systems and things like that. So what's going on with the other materials?
So microchips, which are used in some of the construction materials, still an issue to some extent. But again, with the slowing market as far as the number of housing starts across the country, that's going to improve as well. I know that we've seen a drop in other construction materials. I read the other day where copper was down, and some of the other materials that are going into the construction of new homes are absolutely down. And if they're not coming down, the other bright spot is that prices are at least leveling off, and a lot of the trades who I'm talking with are no longer expecting the price hikes that we've seen over the past. Because as you know, inflation over the past several months has been at historic levels, and that's what's been fueling some of the price increases with even the construction material that we're dealing with. I mean, since the pandemic began, the cost to build a new home is up more than 40%. I mean, think about that. If you're building a $700,000 home, you're now paying just barely under $1 million for that same home. If you're building $1 million home, it's now 1.4. So those are huge price increases. So now that lumber is backed off, we're seeing copper and some of these other prices back off a little bit. I think people can breathe a little bit more easily and really start to think about, okay, maybe we do start to reach for our dream and build that dream home.
I had to cringe a little bit when you said the 700, and 50,000 is now just under $1 million. I mean, the heartache when I had to go through as I do marketing on the website.
Yeah, you do. And you do it very well, I might add.
Thank you. But going through and having to do those price changes was just painful. And we did it a few times because we just can't reasonably build this house for that much anymore. And that was tough.
It was tough, but it also forced us, which we really want to be pro-client and help them. It really made us buckle down and work extremely hard with our clients up front in both of our markets to make sure that we knew what that client budget was, and then we worked hard to make sure that we're designing the house to fit into that budget. So it actually helped us from the standpoint of with our procedures and processes early on, focusing a little bit more to making sure that we could meet that design standard.
It's nice to tighten things up.
Yeah, it really was.
So labor prices, how are those impacted?
the labor market has absolutely improved. I think that we've seen the unemployment rate tick up a little bit, and that means that we're seeing more stability in the labor market. So from a construction standpoint, that's going to help because the build time on our projects should be able to come down a little bit right now. We had so many builders fighting for so many of the same laborers, if you will, whether it's plumbers, electricians, framing carpenters, etc., that something had to give, and what was giving is the home that usually took 8 to 10 months to build was now taking 12 to 16 months to build. So what I'm hopeful is, as the labor market is improving, as the housing permits are down a little bit, I'm hoping that the time it takes us to build our homes will also start to drop.
That's very nice
Yes.
to hear, because you have people calling in and, I want to be in my house by this time next year. It will.
We'll do our best, but we can't make any promises. You know my favorite line, though, right?
What's that?
We'll have you in our home in your new home by Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
We just don't know which Christmas. And then I tell them I'm joking, and we do try to give everybody a schedule up front so they know what we're working on.
So the last thing, though, all these great things are happening for builders, but, the interest rate issue.
Still a little bit of a challenge, but I'm going to turn. I want to say that this is a positive episode of The Art of Custom, because even with interest rates, that they're not tied closely to what the Fed is doing. And we learned that when Joe from Groundwork Mortgage was in our office not that long ago and talked about it. It's been a surprise because we had another big rate increase in July from the Fed. But if you notice, the mortgage rates actually went down a little bit, and they were below 5%. For the first time since spring. Now, as we tape this show, they've popped up a little bit again, just over 5%. But I guess the takeaway is this. Mortgage rates seem to still be very manageable. I saw a graph the other day which showed me that mortgage rates historically are right in line with where they should be. What, again, I would advise people is 4.5%, 4 3/4, 5% interest rates. Those really are historically great rates. This is a good time to truly think about designing a home, building a home. Find that builder, find the remodeler, get on their schedule, because I think as we go into 2023, pricing pressures continue to go down. Labor shortage continues to be behind us. I think even the mortgage interest rates are going to subside, or at least remain where they are. And knowing that it takes time to find the perfect piece of land to build on, knowing that it takes time to design the home, then you have to budget it, then you have to go through your lender. That process can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So if you think about building a new home next year, now's really the time to start thinking about it.
So what I'm hearing is we were a little spoiled, and we expected those interest rates to always stay low. I mean, am I reading too far into that?
No, you're absolutely right. And a perfect example of that is, remember a couple of decades ago when they first introduced the 0% financing for automobiles?
Yes.
That's never gone away. And it's never gone away for a reason, because people now expect it.
Yeah.
And they will not tolerate interest rates on most automobile loans. And so that's why the dealers have not been able to really move off of that special offer. That's years ago. The same thing that kind of happened in the home industry is our interest rates were so low, people got spoiled thinking they would be around forever. But what they don't realize is rates in the 4s, 5, low 5s, mid 5s, historically, those are still excellent rates, and it's something that should not keep you from building a home or remodeling your house.
Well, and Alicia said, when we had her on,
Alicia Kopp,
very off the cuff, she said, date the rate, marry the house, right?
Exactly.
So
I love that.
That seems like that's something that we need to remind ourselves of.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for listening to this bonus episode of The Art of Custom. We just wanted to kind of break in our regular schedule of our shows, just with some updated housing information. And again, we're always available. Love to hear from our listeners. If there's any questions that you guys have, want us to marry you with a builder, happy to help that as well. So thanks for listening.
For more information, visit www.artofcustompodcast.com or find us on Facebook as The Art of Custom and on Twitter at Art of Custom Pod. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts to get the latest episodes, and please rate and review to help us grow. The Art of Custom is produced by Hugmonster Sound, with original music by Adam Frick Burdine. Thanks for listening.